Hey everybody, it's Rykard here again bringing you my next black and white Pokemon analysis. Today, we're going to be discussing the Thunder and Lightning Pokemon known as Zeburaika. So let's get started by taking a look at its abilities and its stats. So first off, you will notice that this Pokemon is a pure electric type, meaning that it has only one weakness to ground, but resistances to flying, electric, and steel. As for its abilities, all three of them that this Pokemon gets allow it to boost its stats in some way. The first of these abilities is known as Lightning Rod, which is normally seen as useless unless you're in a double battle, because what it does is it draws electric attacks towards you. But in the 5th generation, Lightning Rod now boosts your special attack every time you get hit by an electric type move, which also means that it provides immunity to electric type moves. So if you predict your Pokemon or your opponent to use a move like Thunderbolt or something and you switch Zeburaika in, then you just got a +1 special attack boost, so it's pretty cool. Similarly, Motor Drive, which was probably made famous by Electivire in the last generation, is another ability that provides immunity to electric types, except this time when you get hit by an electric move, your speed goes up by 1 stage. Its last ability, which it gets in the Dream World, is a new one known as Herbivore, and what it does is it provides immunity to grass type moves because you're a herbivore, so obviously you eat grass, and it also provides a 1-stage physical attack boost, which is the best one for this Pokemon because as you will see in the stats, it is a very physical attacker. And speaking of the stats, it has 75 HP coupled with 63 defenses for physical and special, which is really not amazing defenses at all, but it's still, pretty standard with Pokemon that are fast and powerful like this one. So you're not going to expect to see like crazy defensive stats with high speed and attack power like this Pokemon has. And now its physical attack is 100 base, which is pretty good, and that'll allow it to do plenty of damage as necessary. As for its special attack, it's also decently high, and if you want to try and run a special set with this Pokemon, it is incredibly possible, and you could even hopefully get a boost from Lightning Rod if you're running that kind of set. As for its speed, which is 116, which is absolutely amazing, so it means that this Pokemon will pretty much be outspeeding a lot of Pokemon. So you don't even need to worry about speed in its stat, and it also learns a move that will increase its speed as well, which you will see in a second. But as an overall thing with the stats, you can see that it's a fairly powerful physical attacker with really high speed. So unlike in a lot of my previous videos where I've posted multiple sets for the new black and white Pokemon, Zeburaika only has one that I made for it. And the reason for this is because it's a pretty linear Pokemon when it comes to what it can do. So it's either going to be doing a lot of damage physically or a lot of damage specially, and really the physical side is so much better than the special side with this Pokemon. So the set you see right here is an Adamant Nature, or running an Adamant Nature, to give Zeburaika an increased physical attack but decreased special attack. As for its ability, we're going to be using Herbivore to give you immunity to grass moves and also allow you to hopefully increase your attack by 1 stage when you can switch in on a grass move. And a great Pokemon to use in combination with Zeburaika would be something like Swampert, because it's 4 times weak to grass. And so if you can predict your opponent to be using a move like Grass Knot or something like that, you could switch Zeburaika in, get the Herbivore attack boost, and not take any damage. So now you just have a very powerful Zebra at your disposal. As for the EV spread, you have 4 HP EVs to increase your hit points by 1 point, 252 attack EVs to give you your max attack possible, and 252 speed EVs to give you the highest speed you can get with an Adamant Nature. As for the item, there are 2 options that you can use for Zeburaika. The first is a balloon, which is a new item that Pokemon can hold, and what it does is it gives you immunity to ground type moves until you're hit by an attack. So say you predict your opponent to use Earthquake or something like that, and you switch Zeburaika in, and normally Zeburaika is weak to ground, but Balloon essentially gets rid of that weakness until you're hit by another attack. So you can safely switch this Pokemon in on potential threats that might want to use an Earthquake, and you can do it safely. So with Balloon, you essentially get immunity to ground, and Herbivore gives you immunity to grass. So that's two really cool attacking types that you don't really have to worry about for the most part. And just to let you know, Stealth Rocks and Spikes do not pop the Balloon. So therefore, you can switch it in when those entry hazards are up and not have to worry about the Balloon popping and then you being weak to ground type moves again. As for the last, or the other item, you can use a Life Orb, which is probably going to be the standard item used on this Pokemon because it is fairly powerful, and the Life Orb boost to attack is welcome despite the fact that you do damage to yourself every time you use an attack. Speaking of the attack moves though, the first one listed here is a new move known as Nitro Charge, and it is a 50 base power physical fire move, and every time you use it, your speed increases by 1 stage. And that's great because we can run an Adamant Nature easily over a Jolly one because the Nitro Charge will essentially provide the boost that you would have if you were running a Jolly Nature, so to speak. I mean, the boost from Nitro Charge is significantly higher than if you were running a Jolly Nature on the set, but it allows Zeburaika to be as powerful as possible with an Adamant Nature without having to sacrifice its speed. As for the next move, it's a new physical electric type move, which is very welcome, or a very welcome addition to this generation because normally the most powerful physical electric move was Thunder Punch, and half the electric Pokemon can't even learn that. So they either had to rely on Thunder Fang, which is only 65 power, or Spark, which is also 65 power. So Wild Bolt, being a 90 base power physical electric move that deals only 1/4 recoil, which is pretty good compared to a move like Double Edge, this move will be utilized a lot with electric Pokemon and allow them to do more physical damage. And obviously, since you're running a physical set on Zeburaika, Wild Bolt is going to be an excellent stab move to use. Its next move in the set is known as Double Kick, and you might be thinking, why the heck could you be using a move like that? Well, even though it has pretty low base power, which is 30, it's hitting twice, so technically it's like 60. And there are a lot of steel types and stuff like that, or rock and dark types that you'll encounter in the competitive game. And having a move like Double Kick allows you to surprise them and do a lot of damage, especially with Life Orb. If you're facing a Tyranitar and it doesn't have any physical defense investment, you can essentially one-hit KO it. It's possible to with Double Kick with Life Orb. So that's a really cool asset to have, and Tyranitar is a pain in the butt half the time, so you want to get rid of it. As for its last move, you have two options, and they're both pretty neat. One of them is Volt Change, which is a new electric type move. It's a special move, but it is essentially the electric type version of U-Turn. So what you do is you use Volt Change and then you switch out. So it's pretty cool if you're trying to scout, and it allows you to obviously switch out if you predict your opponent to switch first. So obviously their switch will happen, then you'll Volt Change, and then you can see what they switched into and then get the advantage. As for the next move, it's Pursuit, which is essentially the opposite of Volt Change since it's trying to hit the opponent from who is trying to switch out. And it's just a decent power move that you can use if you want to be able to hurt Psychic and Ghost types, or at least do damage to Pokemon that are trying to switch out. So as you can see from this set, and the only set, sadly, that I have for Zeburaika, it can be a very versatile physical attacker, and that is essentially what it was made to do, in my opinion. And I absolutely love the design of this Pokemon. It's freaking awesome looking. But that's pretty much it. I'm sorry I don't have more. I wish I could, but I couldn't. I honestly couldn't make up another set for this Pokemon. But that doesn't mean it's bad or anything. It's just that it has its function in the competitive environment, which is the physical attacking set for the most part. So that's it for this video, and I will see you guys next time I post, which is hopefully soon. So take care and goodbye.